I have missed you all so very much. I hope you had a phenomenal holiday. And I'm just really, like I was telling my client this morning, I just really feel like this year is the year for really getting into service-based businesses. Like it's been a trend that I think that a lot of marketing research has been doing, that more people are looking to work with coaches and like just kind of doing all of these like I think people are just investing their money differently in a way that they're actually looking to see more of a return because with like economic situations around the world, people are really making sure that like their money is going to good use. And I think that like we're just showing them that service-based industries are they're the best. They're the best. And like everyone should invest. So I went through this on the last call, but I wanted to go through this one more time with everybody just so you guys could see. But in the entirety of the mastermind, we have now finished all of the modules. So in the first 3 months, the way that those calls are typically set up is like that typical first 10 minutes just to get your progress tracking done so you don't have to do it outside of the calls. Then we went through all of the six-figure essentials and we went through all of the additional systems. From there, that was the last additional system that you guys saw was the goal setting system. So that was all this past 3 months. We've been getting into a lot of content. And now we really get into the implementation and application phase of the program. So now you're just essentially getting to work, doing everything that you've learned so far. And if you need recaps for literally anything at all, if you're like, hey, not sure about this, I want to make sure that this is what we're actually looking for, that you guys have access to it. Along with that, we underneath the live coaching calls, evidently you guys got a ton of emails. And I bet you did. As soon as all of the other modules were posted, it looks like on December 26th you might have gotten a lot of emails. So sorry about that. I didn't know that was going to happen. Surprise to me also. But it was like all of the bonuses and guest speakers are now also within the group. So there is everything from how to do QuickBooks, which is a platform that I use with my accountant to do my taxes. There is actually in the guest speakers, my accountant came and explained how to do finances and what she would recommend. She does also recommend in there getting an accountant. I can send you her information if you need it. She's been great. Diane's been awesome. There's also something about like website creation. So during this call, like during our coaching calls, if you're like, hey Megs, I would love to like go over my website with you and we could use this together. That's what this time is for as well, to make sure you're getting like literally like everything and anything you need. Last week, Allison came and did a training on, it was last week. I think it was the week before. But Allison came, yeah, on the 21st, and she did a training on how to do a podcast. So if you are thinking about doing a podcast, I included a ton of resources here, um, like exactly how to the hosting platforms and such. And I am actually doing a presentation for her group this evening. And one of the things that she's going to send me the slides and things like that this weekend. Um, so that was kind of why things looked crazy. Apologies in advance for all of the emails that you got, but now you have access to literally everything. Now, these are just like bonuses. Like, not everyone needs to use Acuity scheduling for the way that you run the back end of your system, but these are all just here if you want to go through them. The other thing that we did is we talked through the Google Drive. So at this point, this is what like all the different things that you should have in your Google Drive. So if you missed that last week, it's after I go over the goal setting. Just go ahead and go to that replay. In last week's call, I was like, I'll tell you like what time it was. So I went through the drive. Let's say, I think at like minute 26 or 30, I went through all the different pieces of the Google Drive. So go ahead, and if you want to see what I have in there for you, if you want to check anything with me, we can also like share screens at this time. If you want to show me a presentation that you're doing, anything like that, that's what this time is for. So really excited for you guys. The other fun announcement is that we are now halfway. So we are going to be doing one-on-one coaching calls. Trying, I just want to like kind of get a gauge of like where you're at, how you're feeling about things. So we're going to do not the monthly evaluation. Yes, the monthly evaluation. This is what we're going to do when we meet up. I want to hear about like what's your confidence level for each of these things and what's working, what could be improved, and what can we do differently? And what would you like? What are you looking to make it a 10? This is what we're going to be doing for the midway review and going through this with each and every one of you to make sure you're getting what you need. Or if you want to do something else, that's totally fine too. I just want to make sure we're setting new goals for the new year. So, all that being said, let's get into some coaching. Who would like to go first? I keep saying it's 12. It's not. We're in 2024, Megs.
Well, there are two people on this call.
Yeah, I was like,
Two.
Andrea, do you want to go first? I think that I think Armony just voluntold you that you're going.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind going first, for sure. I guess I don't probably like my 2024. I don't feel like I have a clear
Vision.
idea of, yeah, I don't really know what to talk about today, but I also don't really know what to, plan for, I guess, for 2024.
That's the perfect topic. I'm like, let's do it. Let's plan things out. Let's start with the win though. How have you been? I was like, it's been a hot minute. Give us
Yeah,
a win.
things, well, a win. I just wrapped up my last session of group coaching. And not that it was anything that I necessarily did, but one out of two actually came to like all of the calls, and a lot of non-scale wins, which is, the purpose, the goal for just a 6-week weight loss program. So that was good. Like, I felt good about that. I think I'm gonna nudge her a little bit, like maybe towards the end of this week to remind her to fill out the end of the course like evaluation and to ask for a testimonial. So
I love it. Amazing. So this sounds like things are going well, but with 2024, let's come up with a plan. What kind of so are you in the launch for the next group now? Are you thinking about doing another group right now?
yeah, I actually have a webinar scheduled for tonight at 9
So,
o'clock. It's not planned at all. I don't think I'm gonna do slides at all. I'm just gonna kind of get on there. We're just gonna chat. It's actually creating weight loss vision boards.
oh,
So,
fun.
and kind of talking through like not only just like, the number you want to see on the scale, but really focusing on who you are 12/31/2024, right? Like, what new habits have you embodied? How are you feeling about yourself? How are you feeling about your body? And kind of like creating some things to put on the board representative of that. And then also things that can motivate you, like when the times get tough or when you quote unquote don't want to or whatever, right? And kind of so it should serve as kind of like an inspirational board, but also like a roadmap of like, all right, like here's what I want to be doing over the next year that will get me to where I want to be at the end of the year. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I kind of just like threw that up last week. I don't even know if it's been a full week. I have 5 people
Okay.
signed up so far. I mean, for me, I'm just kind of like, well, it is what it is.
Well, and so like when so is this going to be a launch and are you guys going to start on Sunday of this week for the new group?
I mean, great question. I don't know. I feel so like whatever. Like, we're just
I'm so
rolling
sorry.
with it here. Yeah, so I was thinking, what is today? Oh yeah, that is January. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking launching on Sunday the 7th, and then like our first actual like group call would be on the 8th.
Okay. Wait, okay, so you're going to do a day for the launch, just like you sign up on
Oh
the
no, no,
7th
no, no. So like it'll open up
tonight?
like tonight in essence. Yeah.
Okay.
And oh yeah, let me write that. Set
I'm
up
like Andrew,
group
I'm like so like I'm just catching like kind of like I don't know what it is. It's like this
like a
like
blase, like
yeah. Oh,
gonna
again, I've never seen you this blasé about things, and that is fine. It just doesn't feel like it's coming from blasé energy, and it doesn't always
yeah.
have to be. It doesn't always have to be like a great energy, but I think there might be something going on, and it's just a hunch. And like, I don't mean to like, but I'm like, I just feel like there's something going on that's adding to some of this energy, or maybe it also could just be like I'm tired after the holidays. Like that could be totally fine too.
I mean, yeah, I mean every meme that's out there that's like the fat cat looking around being like, what day is it? I'm so full of carbs and whatever and sleep deprived and overdrank for a while. Like that's me. And I guess I kind of feel like I have to launch right now, and I know that that's not absolutely true, that like, oh, it's the beginning of the year, like, and it might be coming from a little bit of like a desperate kind of like, I don't want to miss out on those people who are trying to, lose weight. I mean, well, yeah, I mean, usually my January launch is a pretty good, you know, launch, and yeah, I don't want to like miss out on that. I was pretty like disappointed about my income results, we'll say, for last year. I don't even know if I have that right now,
Yeah,
but
let's
like
get some
I didn't even make $2,000. Which the year before I was just shy of like 12,000,
Okay.
and so that feels like a loss, like a failure. Um,
Do you feel like the year is a failure? Do you feel like the business, like it's like, what is the failure here?
oh, I mean, come on, we've worked together long enough
I know. I
to
was
know
like, I
it's
just
a
want to be
personal
clear about
thing.
what your brain
I
is
feel
saying.
I feel like a failure. And I know
Yeah.
that that's not okay. So no, I made just under 1,600, I guess. So
Okay. So let's say
1,600 and change.
1,600
Um,
change.
yeah.
And what is your brain making that mean? That you failed?
Just that like this like, probably that like I'm not a good businesswoman. I think I've had very many thoughts over 2023 just being like, you know what? Like it might be time to just call, a loss and that this like isn't for you. Um, but then I also, think about other people in the field who are very successful, and just knowing that like none of them said that like, and year 3 my income just astronomically, and I dominated the field, and it was amazing. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh yeah, 10 years of slugging it out and putting in the work and all that kind of stuff. Then I started to be profitable. I don't know. I mean, that's not necessarily but you know, it's not that Cinderella story that I'm hoping for.
What is the Cinderella story you're hoping for? Like the 3 years and just like,
No, I mean, for myself, I just and that's the thing, like for me, I'm like, but you're being really reasonable, I feel like, you know, that every year for the first like 3 years, I made more money, and not like ginormous, you know, I last, you know, the year 2022 or whatever, I ended just under 12,000. So clearly I'm not making leaps and bounds of like, you know, extra 50,000 a year or something. It's like literally like a couple thousand more, a couple thousand more. And so I guess my Cinderella story was I would ride that trajectory up to as much money as I would want to make. And 2023 was a severe blow to my ego and what I thought was reasonable expectation that like, okay, I, you know, could potentially make, you know, maybe 15,000 for 2023. And then I went and I made 10% of what I made the year before, you know?
Mhm. Well, and I think that when we're thinking about using numbers, we want to use the numbers for you. And here's the thing that I find most interesting is that you still have the skill of earning money. You still have the skill of bringing in clients. We also, the numbers that I think your brain is omitting is that you switched to entirely group. Like that there was some one-on-one before and the prices shifted, right? So there a lot of there were also like so those are just like business C's, right? And then there were also a lot of life C's. So it's like there was like there are circumstances that your brain isn't factoring in to like every year supposed to be the same or just keep getting better and growing every year. Like
Mhm.
it's almost like and I think that maybe this is coming like when kids are in school, I think we're just told like, oh yeah, when you go every year, you learn this, you get this, and it's very linear. It's just like each year progresses in the exact way. And I think that like not only is business not like that, but life isn't like that either. Like every year, it doesn't always just keep getting better. Sometimes things change. A lot of things change. And I think that the expectation that we're given in our school system and things like that is just like that life is a linear progression when a lot of times it's like this. And
Yeah.
business especially is like this. And I don't know if you've seen that there's a reel I'll like put in the group, but it's like essentially like the ball that goes straight, it actually gets there slower than the ball that goes up and down because it's building up momentum with the ebbs and the flows, which is pretty cool as far as physics goes. And I think that's a pretty beautiful analogy for life too. And so I want to offer you this. So first off, how does that land when I'm saying all
I mean, you know, I hate it. I'm just like,
that?
thank you. Every we'll build on the next. We're gonna graduate from, you know, grade 1 to grade 2 to grade 3. And I'm very much I was by no means like a star student. I was not even a contender for valedictorian, but like I very much loved the plan of it all. I loved the instant feedback on assignments. I loved all the external validation. Like it's my jam and I love it. And I mean, the thing that I've learned for this past year the most is that left to my own validation, you know, I go into the crapper pretty quickly. I go, you know, and I think that like, and I know that that's like the piece that I'm missing right now is that like really like spending that time with myself daily to like recognize like what I've been doing well, and then like kind of letters from my future self, and just like just I guess appreciation letters kind of from myself to myself. Because I really do have to be very like make a concerted effort to like say those positive things. And it's not necessarily that I feel like it hasn't felt like self-criticism. You know, it's
Mhm.
not like I go around all day and I'm like, oh, you're so stupid. Like, why would you do that? That's a ridiculous, or, you know, I don't know. I don't even know how that would really even sound. I don't feel like I do that, but I feel like it comes in like a sheep in
Wolf's
wolf.
clothing.
Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah, I knew what
wearing
you
the wrong
meant.
clothing. I
A
don't know who
sheep
it
in
is,
wolf's
but
clothing.
yeah. I mean, that's what I should be. Just put
Right?
on that.
We need to like bust out. But here's the
Um,
interesting thing. Do you remember when we were talking about the running? That guy who did the run, and it was the same path. It's like the hardest trail, and it's just a
uh,
mile, and he wins every time. I
yeah.
forget what that movie's called, or that
Just one,
documentary,
just 1 mile, I think it was.
Just
Yeah.
One Mile. I think what has happened is instead of I and the reason why I think it's really interesting is the words like I'm not a good businesswoman,
Hmm.
or it's like, and if we're thinking about like you from the past, like we don't need to like fight this past version of you. But the thing is, it's like I think the reason why there is the mental chatter is because you're not seeing businesswoman as a learned skill. Like you're not just born a good businesswoman.
Right.
Anyone can be a good businesswoman. Anyone can learn the skill of running a business. You know what I mean? And I think that your brain has kind of thought of it as like a test for you. Like it's just kind of like, okay, I'm going to see if I can do it. The reason why I'm saying it is like the words that you said, like it's like this isn't for me. It's like just kind of like I just want to see if I can like actually make this work and like start to be profitable, instead of being like, I want to in my lifetime learn the skill of being a businesswoman. I want to learn the skill of making this amount of money from nothing. Like that would like 1600 income. I know that your brain has words about that, but you created that 1600 from nothing. How many people can say that they've done something like that in their lifetime? How many kinds of people and like that's in when we're talking about like internal motivation, that's also a learned skill. Being a businesswoman is a learned skill, having a business is a learned skill, making money is a learned skill, and learning internal motivation is a skill. And you just have to figure out what it takes for you. And then it becomes like an experiment. Like, okay, I just want to get in this lifetime. I would love to like learn how to do this. Like that would be just like really interesting if I could do this in my life. I think that can take away some of the sting of like the identity within it versus the skill of it. Does that make sense?
I mean, it does,
Kind of.
but then like the thing that comes to mind for me is like, well, then what are we defining as a good businesswoman? Like, how do we know when
That's
we,
literally what I was gonna ask you. I was like, what would it be for you?
um, I mean, I don't know. It always boils down to money for me. I'm like,
Okay.
I would be profitable.
Would it how much?
I mean, at this point, I would just take profitable.
Okay. I was like, because most like businesses, like my business last year was not profitable.
Yeah,
Generate revenue, but I was in
right.
the red.
Right. I mean, so er,
Do you see what I'm saying? I'm
I think
like,
only my second year was I probably
my second
actually,
year was profitable too, but it's like, so it's like, it's, you see what I'm saying? It's like, because I
yeah,
think that if you were to make 150K, your brain would be like, oh, I'm doing okay. but I made it and I wasn't profitable. So would your brain still have you chasing that benchmark?
Right. No, I would not consider that.
A loss of a year?
Yes, that would be probably a loss of a year.
Oh, still okay. Interesting. Okay.
No, I feel like, yeah.
No, it's just like I
I
just
mean,
want to get clear about like because it was I was talking with another client and she was like, absolutely not. And I'm like, well, okay. So then we've got thoughts about the word profitable. So
right.
profitable meaning that you generated more revenue than you brought in. Now, I think her thing was like there was a technicality that my 2022 taxes did get mixed with my 2023 taxes, but within your profitability, it's like just a cent over, like a penny over, $1,000 over.
Like, yeah, so I'm pursuing this, right? Because I'm the breadwinner. Well, I have been the breadwinner, I guess, of our home for like ever. And I have a very good, stable job with lots of benefits. And so the purpose of this business for me was to be able to, because I don't want to go into management. I have enough children at home. I don't need to manage children at work, right? So like I have zero interest in like managing adults. Which I mean, I guess if you're going into business for yourself and you need that help, I mean that's going to come right down the pipeline. But anyways, so the profitability for me means that like now I have additional resources to do the things I want to do with my family, right? Like I would like to be able to like travel more. I would like to be able to not have to like scrimp and say I would like maids, okay? We used to have
Yeah.
maids once upon a time, and you know, that was one of the luxury things that we had that now we had to get rid of. You know what I mean? I like that back. I don't like cleaning. So yeah, just like little things like that. And so it's like if I even had just like I don't know, even an extra like $500 to $1,000 a month, you know, coming in from this every month, like that would be great, you know, and it really kind of like concerns me. Oh, well, this was another coach friend. It was not from her coaching business, but like she had a yoga studio and she was like, I never paid myself once. And I was like, oh no, like I can't, like for me, that's not a good businesswoman. I don't feel like that means you are profitable. Like I need to feel some sort of like financial benefit to like this work
Why?
because then it's worth it. You know, I
Okay.
feel like taking time away from my family in the evenings to like do coaching calls and things like that,
Yeah.
or to create material or whatever. And like I need to have some sort of financial benefit because like it's not like I'm getting paid peanuts, you know what I mean? My day job
Right.
takes up enough of my time and I get compensated. So I want to feel compensated from this as well.
Yep. And so when we're thinking about where it's like, so we want to compensated. I think that when we're thinking about like what I'm essentially trying to do here is like this we're trying to like thought stop you or like pause you in this model and shift you before you take action from this. Because I think what's been happening is you've been taking action from this kind of feeling for this launch at the very least. Like just kind of like a place of like when you were saying the blah energy, I think
Mhm.
that's what's driving the blah. And I think that if we're thinking about bringing in, let's say 12K for the 2024, if
Mhm.
that would be like what you were looking for of and let's say 12K profit, I'm not sure how much you're thinking of spending next year, but it's like, okay, well, I'm going to go to work to make that 12K happen. I'm going to bring in $1,000 a month. I'm going to problem solve to figure it out. I want to learn the skill of that because this putting in the energy that I'm doing, I'm going to make it worth my while. That is the difference that I would love to shift for you right now is like you're looking to the business to prove that it's worth it versus you being like, I'm going to make it worth it because that's who I am. Like I'm a driven person that's going to figure this out this year because I want this and I want to make it happen versus it being like, prove me business. It's like, it's like, I'm putting in the effort. What do you have to show for it? Instead of being like, I'm going to put in enough effort to make $1,000 a month happen. You see what I like that it's a different energy, whereas it puts you back in control of this. Because I
Right.
think that right now it doesn't it feels like you've been putting in a lot of effort. It's like almost like you're putting like tokens in and you're like shaking the machine like, why hasn't it come out? It's like I put in all the tokens versus being like, I will put in as many tokens as it takes to bring out whatever I want. What's coming up now?
And like tokens are money, and I don't want to put any more money into this
It
business.
doesn't, it's like, I think
Oh
that
yeah. No, I see what you're
more like
saying.
energy.
Huh?
It's like, I think that it's like, what do you think in this? Like, I don't think that you had a goal in mind. I think that you haven't had a goal in mind because you felt disappointed.
No, I mean for 2023, I did have a goal. Like,
2024, I'm saying.
oh, 2024. No. I do. I started, I don't know if you've read the 12-week year or whatever.
No.
I read that and I was trying to create a 12-week year plan for myself based on that. So for my first 12 weeks, I do want to have like 5,000 in revenue. And I was going over kind of like the tactics that would need to happen for that. So I
It's
guess by
interesting
that,
because you came on the call like, I don't have a goal. And I was
well,
like, wait
I
a second. There's a thought here.
yeah, I know. Yeah, so I just don't know, I guess, how feasible it is. That's where when
That's the
I
thing. It's like when you're talking about like how it's like, I just don't know how feasible it is. Like versus like, I'm gonna make it feasible. Like I'm gonna fucking figure it out. I'm gonna make 5K in the first 12 weeks of this year. Do you see do you see how you're like, I just don't know, like, it's like, it's just like, I don't know energy because I think that your brain is scared that if you're like, I'm going all in on 5K and you don't hit 5K, then your brain's like, well, then I'd feel sad and I don't want to feel like, so it's like you're feeling the disappointment ahead of time versus being like, new slate, new year, let's go 5K. What do I think? Like, do you hear the shift? Do you hear what I'm hearing now?
right, yeah. I know there's a lot of I don't know.
And it's like, I'm just going to choose to figure it out. Like, that's a difference versus like,
I know.
uh,
I feel like I don't know. I feel like I've been in that space of like, I'm gonna figure this out. This is gonna be great. Um, yeah. And then I fell out of it.
that's okay. I was like, literally everybody does. I was like, it's not supposed to, because if you were in it all the time, you wouldn't know how great it is. And so it's like, my goal is just to get you into it before the 8th. I'm like, I want to get you into that cycle for these 5 people coming tonight. Because if you were to sign 5 people tonight on this webinar, which I don't know if you're in that energy yet, but you can shift in a moment. It doesn't take 10 letters from your future self. It doesn't take an appreciation, gratitude list. We can do it right now. So how much is your program if you were to sign all 5 in?
It's $497.
497 for 3 weeks, yeah?
6 weeks.
For 6 weeks. So in the first 12 weeks of the year, if you were to sign them in again, look where you're at.
Yeah.
You're gonna hit that 5K.
So immediately I like something that's been like really weighing on my mind and all that is like I haven't grown my audience at all. So I'm fishing from the same dead pool that I've been fishing from anyways.
Uh-huh.
So it's like there's no new clients really to be had. These are the same people that always come to all my webinars and don't sign up. So
Yep. And don't sign up. Why are they gonna sign up now? How are you going to like it's like $497. They are going to spend this $497 on something. They are going to spend $497 on wine and food. And we've talked about this. They're going to pay somebody else this money. What can you do to be like, this is going to be the best $497 you ever spend in your life? You are going to learn skills that it's like doesn't even need to be like the best $497, but this is a freaking worthwhile investment for you. And I want to shift you. I'm like so glad that you have a webinar tonight. I'm like, we're gonna shift you right now. I was like, because it's like if you're like thinking like it doesn't take that much for you to shift into like, I'm gonna make it feasible. I'm gonna sign off. It's like these 5 people. I have like a webinar literally for the procrastinators. It's like, how many times have you come to free webinars? And how much do you actually do with it? It's like,
Mhm.
I see you. I used to be you. And the day that I decide I have lost 90 pounds because I decided not to be that person anymore. It's like I actually was going to invest in myself and show up. I've read all the books. I was doing all the things when I was, and the thing that shifted is I actually started investing in myself. I want this for you. And what are their like if you like you don't need to list their names, but like think about their initials. What are their initials? Do you know them? Or like just the first initial?
I mean, one of them's SG, one's KU. Yeah, I don't. Those are my regulars. I don't know. AW, I think was one. Uh, SC, JC. Yeah, I think that's it.
So I want
5.
you to think about those people.
Uh-huh.
And I want you to like look at JC's profile and I want you to think about like how different their life would be just 6 weeks from now if they were to start 2024 with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is their time. And I want everybody to be thinking about this because I'm sure that we all have this like the thought about like our current audience. And I want you to fall back in love with these people. I want you to be like, it doesn't have to be like in love, but like be like, I'm going to go to bat for you tonight. Whenever this webinar is, like, this is going to be a vision board that's going to, it's like, I don't want this to just be a vision board for you. I don't want this to just be one night that you show up for this. I want you to show up for yourself every single week for the next 6 weeks. The first 6 weeks of 2024, I want you to change who you are as a person. When you are marketing and selling tonight, you are selling them belief that they can transform. So like removing you out of it, it's like I'm going to I'm going to learn how to show people that investing $497 is just that's the only thing that's keeping them from spending that with you is they don't believe that they can do it.
Right.
So you need to believe for them. You need to be like, I know that you think 6 weeks might not change anything for you. Here's why it will. You could spend $497 on anything, but I want you to think about what you're like the next 6 weeks are going to change your health. It's going to change the way that you're able to show up for your families. It's going to change your energy levels. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. It's going to start I want you to start a snowball effect for not just your weight, but for the rest of your, like for other pieces of your life too.
Yeah.
Like I want to sell your offer for them, but I want you to have my thoughts that like you see that my thoughts are just really like I want them to do this for them. And I also want you to be like, I can totally learn how to make $1,000 a month. I can totally learn how to make 5K in 12 weeks. Done it before. Just 5 people.
Yeah.
So what's coming? It's like, so I want your goal. What is your goal for this launch?
Oh, well, that I don't
Let's
have.
start. Let's create one.
Um, I
And what
mean,
I went over last week, let me just pause you for a second. I
yeah,
decided to shift the way I think about goals in a way that I think will serve everybody on this call. Instead of thinking about my goals as, and I think this was like the intention of, I don't love the word impossible goal because it just like doesn't seem like it's literally saying it's impossible in the name, which I don't love. But for me, one of the things that I wanted to do is I was like, I want to learn how to create seven figures with just my brain and like my life. I'm like, what would that look like? And I realized it'd be 15 one-on-one clients and 32 people in my group. So I am always looking to hit 32 people every time. 35 is my goal now. And I'm
yeah,
like, okay, what would it take for me to sign 35 people right now? And I'm always problem solving from that energy. So even like though 5 people would be what it would take to get the 5K, if you shoot for a different number, like what do you think like what would be a number that you would love to have in this group? Like 5 people would be right on your way to hit 5K. 10 people would be 10K in this launch or 5K in this launch.
so I always go back to what I've already done, and then
Do you
like a
see?
little
That's
bit,
not good. I was like,
but
it's
I don't think it's terrible. Like
it's
my
not bad. It's just like I'm like it's just not like it's because it's putting you in a different frame of reference. It's not putting you in the like I can create things. It's like I'm going back to what I like um what did you say? I don't know how feasible it is. So I'm going to go back to the feasibleness of it versus like, you know what I'm saying? Do you feel it like now if it feels good for you, that's fine. But what have you done before that you would like?
Well, so the most I've ever had sign up at for one group at one time was 6. And so if I
Okay.
could do like 8,
Okay.
like that would be amazing.
Why? Like let's do 8. It's like let's become the kind of person who signs 8 people in a launch. What would it take for you to be the kind of person that signs 8 clients? I think that is for sure going to bring in that financial benefit for you. So if you're thinking about becoming that kind of person that signs 8 clients, what would that version of you be thinking? What do you need to think to be that person right now, tonight?
What do I have to think? Because my mind just goes to you're gonna have to be like direct messaging everybody and posting on social media 8 times a day.
Do you
And
see that's why I didn't go to A-line first?
yeah.
Because it's who you
Um,
are a lot more than what you do.
um, I don't know. I mean, the only thing I can think of is people are ready to work with me, and I don't know if I
It doesn't seem like it's landing.
no. I don't know. I don't.
Be like, what if it's a thought like I want to learn how to figure I want to learn how to sign 8 people. Like I want to figure this out. Versus like it's totally possible being like, I'm gonna fucking figure it out. Like I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, for some reason when it's like I'm gonna figure out how to sign 8 people, it means, well, because you're not gonna do it this time, and then I guess you'll learn something from this. That's where my brain goes.
Okay. I was like, so, but it's like, maybe not. Who knows? But like, do you want to learn the skill of signing 8 clients in your lifetime?
Well, yeah,
Why? Do you feel like because it would bring you
that's progress.
it'd be progress and it's like this is getting me to become the person I want to be. So it's like it's like for me, like the thought about like being a mom is like come hell or high water, I'm gonna figure it out. Like I was like, I'm gonna big it if I don't know how it's gonna happen. I know that the odds are not in my uterine favor, and I'm also here for it.
Yeah. I
So
don't
it's
know.
like,
It's just more um need to hear. I don't know, maybe if I just like bring it not to like signing them or whatever, but just like something that's like 8 people need to hear my message today.
Yeah. And maybe instead of message, could we switch it to like, I can see that 8 people could really benefit from this group in the next 6 weeks.
Sure. That's fine.
Instead, because it's like, do you see how it's shifting from message to your group?
Yeah.
8 people really benefit from this group?
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like 8 people just learning that their thoughts create their results. Fucking worth it. Like there are 8 people in this world that absolutely need that. I have a feeling that some of their initials are SGKU, AW, SC, and JC. 100%. Okay. How does it feel when you think 8 people would really benefit from this group right now? And I want to add, like, it's like, are you willing to go find them?
Yeah.
What if we have like this next layer and I'm willing to go and find them? Or I want to go and find them.
Yeah. And I want to find them is fine.
When you think I want to find these 8 people,
Yeah.
I want to find the 8 people that need this group right now. How does that feel?
Yeah. Maybe I'm not in love with the want because I'm like, I do get a little hung up on like, this is gonna be difficult. I'm gonna have to be
I'm willing. How about,
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm willing to find 8 people. I'm willing to do the work to find the 8 people need this group right now.
Yeah, I don't know if I need that. Like maybe just the like focusing on the 8 people. Like
Okay.
I don't really want to, yeah, because like I feel like now I'm getting too like involved in the amount of work and like what I'm gonna have to do. And I think I just need to come from like a place of like compassion and like
Okay.
service.
Okay.
Um, because when I decide to do something, I'll do the stuff. But
But it's the energy that you're doing the stuff from that.
right. But I think often it motivates me more to like think of somebody else rather than myself.
Okay, let's like
Right.
what can
So
we think for them?
yeah, just saying that like
There are 8 people that need this group right
people
now.
need this group. Yeah, there are 8 people that need this group right now.
How does that feel?
Or maybe like I also had like I can change 8 people's lives with this program is what I
I
had.
love that.
And so that feels a little bit more like in service or like compassionate or giving, something like that.
Yeah. So now what would you do from this like I'm going to change 8 people's lives with this program. I'm ready. What would you do from that place? For this launch that starts tonight.
I mean, I would probably, re-email my list about the webinar, let them know it's not too late to sign up. Um, you know, create my outline for my webinar that really focuses on the creating that hope and that vision for them as to, what they can accomplish this year. And then also thinking about like, and not because it feels like I'm like kind of holding myself back. I'm like, this is so self-serving, but like, you know, also creating that like hope and vision for like how my program can support that going forward
Mhm.
as well, which I mean, that can be something I can work out on my own, but
Yeah.
you know, posting on social, looking at people that I've had conversations with before and like just letting them know about the, you know, webinar, and that I'd love to have them. And probably spend a little bit of time just like working with my own energy around this, right? Like trying to like really thinking through the benefits, not just like logically, but like really trying to resolve for myself um the benefits that they'll get and really feeling that for them and trying to
Yes.
create some excitement to share that with them.
Yes. That is the energy that we want to be for them. And so I really am, it's like when you are able to just consist, it's like that learning the skill of staying in this service, it's gonna leave. It's not going to be in service the whole time, but it's like we want to like redirect your brain as much as you possibly can back to like, I'm going to change 8 people's lives with this program. And like,
Mm.
even if you need to write that shit down and put a post-it note and like just think about that all day, just you being in the like, it's like, how could this benefit them? What would be awesome for them to experience within this group? That is going to assign 8 people. And I want you to be like, I'm signing 8 people with this launch all the way through the 8th. And then guess what? We're going to see, it's like, this is our best guess. This thought, this feeling, and these actions are our best guess to sign 8 people. That's from everything that we've experienced, this is the best that we are thinking. And we want to create a plan to bring in that 5K in every 12 weeks for sure. So it's like, there might be more, there might be less. Who knows what it's like? But we're gonna figure it out. And we're gonna
Mhm.
get you into these launch cycles where every 6 weeks you do know, okay, here's what I do in the first couple weeks. Cause right now it's kind of like when you decide to do a webinar, like kind of like last week, it's like I would love to get you in a cycle because it's like you're almost like your brain is essentially redeciding and recommitting right now. And it's, I think, taking like it's unnecessary mental energy and causing a little bit of like, oh, I don't know. Like, so it's like I would love to get you in where it almost just feels like a routine. Like, this is who I am, this is what I do, and make it feel less like a choice, like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. It's like that first time that you work out and it's been maybe a week and you're like, ah, like I don't like that. I think we're fighting unnecessary like mental drama just around the what a launch looks like for you that I'd love to
Well,
clear up, but after this launch.
yeah, and I think I mean I completely agree. Well, I mean I won't say that it's like complete like when am I going to launch? I think that for the past, has it been 3 cycles? I think I have been doing it like every 6 week-ish, 6 to 8 weeks.
Mhm.
So, I mean, yes, the dates are not firmly planned out ahead of time, which I think I would really benefit from that for, 2024, if I were to really just like commit and like say, these are my dates, that's it.
Yeah.
I think I've also like realized that I don't want to launch every 6 weeks. And I don't think that means changing my program. It just means
Like
I'm not,
having gaps.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
yeah, once every 12 weeks, I think is good.
I love that.
Um, because I would like to take on individual clients and it feels like there's no room for any of that when I And I know that I do not use my time effectively. There's a lot of worry, a lot of overwhelm, a lot of whatever that feels like I'm in my business all the time. But I'm
Yeah.
like not constructively doing anything for very much time, right? So I think just figuring out like, here's in the 12 weeks when I'm launching group, the rest of the time I'm trying to grow. Because I think that that's also something I pulled away from in 2023 was really like putting my freebie out there, trying to grow my email list, and like giving just general help, right? Like just like reasons for people to know, like, and trust me, you know?
Yes.
So I think kind of getting back to that and then also allowing space to just offer consult calls, I think will be hopefully bringing in more like one-on-one clients too.
I absolutely agree. And I think that like just you showing up in that, like, as a business owner, this is the way I want my business to look. And I'm going to figure out a way to make this work. And I'm going, like, it's like, I'm going to like intentionally figure out a schedule that I want before. Like, I think it's almost like the business has just kind of been like going. And it's like now this year is going to be the year that I'm going to be like, okay, these are my dates. This is my individual client time. And like, really, like, when we were talking like at the beginning about like it's like I'm gonna figure out to how to be a businesswoman that looks like this
Yeah.
with a business that looks
Well,
like this.
and something that you were just saying right there about like my best guess or whatever, you know, I did write down kind of a thought that maybe I'll um try to work on as a good businesswoman is good at guessing and measuring their outcomes.
I love that. Is good. Yes. And that's all it takes. It's literally, it's an experiment. Live
Yeah.
and learn.
Yeah.
But I feel like you're already in a way less blah energy than we started the call. So this is a win. How are you
Yeah.
feeling now? Are you ready for this launch?
Yeah.
For the people,
Huh?
for these 8 people.
Yeah, I think so.
And so posting every day and having that consult link would be the only in your stories would be like the only other suggestion I would make to bring these people in and be like, it's like, I want you in this. It's going to be awesome. If you've been waiting, now's the time. But I
Yeah.
think you're ready.
Yeah, I think so.
Amazing. Thank you. I was like, you are killing it. Thank you for sticking with me. I'm so freaking proud of you. And we're going to make 2024 your year.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All
I
right.
love it. Amazing. How, who else would like some coaching? That was a good, like, strong way to start. Nadia, bring it on. Start with the win.
It's always me. I
I was
always
like,
like give a little space just in case anyone wants to jump in.
yes, I'm like, bring it, girl.
Okay, so a win is I from the webinar that I did. Remember, I was told down in the dumps because I was like, nobody's coming, blah blah blah. So one person came for the whole thing, and one person just came on right at the end and went away. But anyway, that generated 2 consults, which was amazing. Like the person that watched it, and then the person that jumped on at the edge. I just spoke to her and she came on a consult, and then one of them signed, which is awesome. I know.
Yeah.
It is, and my another client renewed for another 6 months. So out of my goal of 3, I'm counting it. I'm just taking it as 2.
I am so fucking proud of you. Hell yeah. I love this. Tell me what you would like some coaching on.
Okay, so I want to do a plan because what I've
Yep.
figured out is that when I do webinars, I generally generate like that's what seems to get consults for me and then leads to clients. And like
Mhm.
last year, I didn't do very many, and I know that I don't know why I don't do them because I've known this from previous as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, stupidity. But anyway, so
It's not stupidity, but it's
I know,
awesome.
I
It's
know. But
like,
you know
okay,
when you're like half the time
wait,
last year, I'm like, I don't know how to get consults, and yet every time I did a webinar previously, I got a consult. So anyway, so just learning from it. So I want to do, my goal is to do one webinar a month,
That's my
right?
thought too. I'm doing the same
Yeah.
thing. Let's do it.
So that's my plan. So, but what I want to be a little bit more strategic with it, because like with my last webinar,
Mhm.
I feel like I barely promoted it, if you know what I mean. Like I don't think I really did the work to get more, like, because when I was looking at what happened, only 5 people signed up. Like, I think that's great, because I was like, 5 people signed up, 1 person showed, I was ready to just give it up.
Yeah.
And it worked. So it's like, what I need to do is get more people on the webinar.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start with what worked for this. Let's just do a super quick eval
Okay.
of this webinar. And I was going to say webinar 1. So
Okay.
what worked for you for this webinar?
What worked for me? Like as in the result, or like
Is it
what
like what
worked?
worked to bring in on the people? What was the concept? What kind of things worked that we want to continue doing for future webinars?
What worked? Well, that's the problem. I didn't really think, and in the build up to getting people registering, that's the bit that I was like, well, this isn't working. You know, that's
Yeah.
like, because to have only 5 people signed up was total, I was down in the dumps. I was like, I might as well just not do it. You know, I was really on literally a minute before it was time to go, I was like, I should just not, like, this is pointless. So that is a bit that I'm like, I don't know. What worked was like, I like delivering webinars and I like doing the training.
Mhm.
So I enjoy that part of it. So I feel like that went well. But
Okay.
it's the getting the people
How
on that I
did
need
you attract the 5 people that were there, and how can we
just
build on it?
yeah, just by posting on Instagram. And then I invited people that I had maybe been talking to. But what it highlighted to me is like I didn't have enough warm like lead, because up until I started working with you, I didn't really use leads as a thing. Like I didn't track people or that. I didn't do it that way. So it highlighted to me, because then I just not randomly, but quickly decided, I'm going to do a webinar. This was in December or November. Yeah, it must have been December.
Yeah. And you're just kind of
And
like,
I,
let's
and
do
I
it.
wasn't as prepared. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Pardon?
I remember it was kind of like, so I'm doing a webinar next week. We've been talking about it for a long time. And I was like, okay. I'm like, I love this. So it's like now we just want to be a little bit more intentional.
Yeah,
And
so that's
when
it. So I'm like, I'm glad I did it, obviously. But like now what highlighted to me is like I need to have more of a structure before the webinar. Like I feel like I'm good when I'm on it, but I need more of a plan and structure before the webinar.
Yes. And so when we're thinking about what you want to do differently, we want to get numbers. We want to be like, okay, so the numbers that I would love to set is like, okay, so if I signed one, it's like, so essentially, if you think about your conversion rate, actually would be 1 out of 5 people signed. That's a 20% conversion rate from a webinar. That's
Yeah.
unheard of.
And they didn't
That's
even come. That's just from signed up. Yeah.
exactly. And so it's like that we can use and be like, okay, so for every 5 people, 1 will sign up. So how many more one-on-one clients would you like?
Um, I mean, I want 10 in total. I currently have 2, so
Okay,
I need
okay.
another.
So so now we're thinking about it. Okay, so
But that doesn't need to come from the first webinar. You know what I mean? I'm like,
but see, so this is a way that you could think about it if you want. But the way that
mhm.
I'm thinking about it is I'm like, I'm just gonna keep trying to get 8. Like if I were you, I'd be like, I'm just gonna keep trying to
Right,
get 8
okay.
every month. I was like, why not? It's like worst case scenario, I get 3. But it's like
Yeah.
if I shoot for 3, I know I'm gonna hit 3. But if I shoot for 8, maybe I'll get 5.
Yeah,
And
okay,
so it's
fair
like,
one.
that's where my
Hmm.
brain is for like 35 people. I'm like, if I
Yeah.
know that's where my brain is, if I know that's where my business is going, and that's what I was saying to Andrea, it's like, as a business, I know I want my business to constantly have 8 people in this group. That's what I want it to look like. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna learn the skill of like signing 8 people in this group. So for you, it's like if I want to be constantly booked with not only 10, but I want to have a wait list,
Yeah.
probably. So if
Hmm.
we're thinking about that, you want to become the kind of person who just always has 10 people in the group. Sorry,
Hmm.
Fitz is like, we were out of town all weekend. I think they're just like
That's
losing their
fine.
mind. Um, and so within that, it's like if we want to sign 8 people, and it took 1 for every 5, 8 times 5 is 40.
Mhm.
So for me, I was like, I would need to get my conversion rate for my webinar was 13%. So I was like, I just need 250 people to get 35. What would I need to
Yeah.
do to make that happen? So let's be like, how do you feel like about, like, it's like in general, do you want to be
Mhm.
the kind of person that just has 40 people on a webinar eventually?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So let's learn how to be that person now.
But I'm confused to like on a webinar versus signing up.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Because I've
So
had
yeah.
like 30 signups before, but I've only got like 7 people on it or something like that, you know?
Okay, so let's do like, let's say 40 signups, and you
Yeah, so I need to
said,
convert that kind of breakdown, you know, like signups,
okay,
people,
and then act like live, and this is just our
attendees,
like
yeah.
literally, and what Andrew's saying, and measuring outcomes. Like it's like, okay, so this is our guess from the outcomes you've had before, and the
Mhm.
more you do it, the more numbers you'll have to support
Yeah.
this data. So it's like, so live, you had one show up fully live,
Mhm.
and that 2 kind of came.
Yeah.
So
Well, for only like for
like,
like a
did you see
minute, because
that? I was
then I
like,
know, yeah, that's fine. Mine doesn't do it. I'm like, I want it to do
I
it.
know it's
I'm
very
like,
fun. I don't know what it is, but it's like within that. So let's try to bring 8 people live, 8 to 10.
okay,
Like,
yeah.
why? Okay, let's just say
Mhm.
10. Let's just throw 10 in there. Why not?
Oh, one
So
thing that I did think that went well is that
yeah,
I wrote an email sequence, like so that anyone that did registered were getting nurtured, you know, every day. I only had like 6 days in between
yeah,
when I decided and when I did, but you know, we're getting nurtured. So I did like that because it's done for you. It's not relying on me doing it. It was already sort of
pre-done.
sorry, that just popped in my head, which I thought was
No, that's a
good.
good. No, but I'm saying you sent that to just them. Why wouldn't we send it to the whole list?
Would you do that?
I did.
Oh, did you? Right,
Yeah.
okay.
So I sent a webinar. I sent 3 emails the weeks prior, and I sent 3 a day for the 5 days of my launch.
To everyone. Yeah,
Yeah,
not
that I
just the
got 'em.
people that had signed up.
Mm.
And
So
was
it's
it not
like,
worded slightly differently to the people that had signed up, or no, or were you just because in the
no,
on there was always on the end of mine were like, you know, like reminding them the time and the date and the reason to come live because I was doing a free thing. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
So I just sent like last opportunity assigned to come live that Monday. I did Sunday, I did one, and then Monday I did another, and then the rest were to every, like, the only email that I only sent to the people who registered was the replay.
okay.
That's the only thing that I did. So
Okay.
and I think it maybe is because of your thoughts about it. Like it was like there
Yeah.
might, like, it's like I think it's just interesting because it's like you're maybe thinking the only people who are interested in like working with you were the people who registered, versus like
Mm-hmm.
everyone on your list is like really, really like,
Is
even they,
interested. Yeah,
and maybe
totally.
there's not
Yeah.
webinar people. Maybe they were just like, yeah, I'm just like, I just want to work with her right away. Like I don't want to, I the
And
only
to be honest,
person
I probably only emailed my list, not that it's a big list, maybe I probably only once or twice to say, do you want to come? So
exactly.
I
So
probably would
the
try and
one,
sell them on coming more. Do you know what I mean? Because they might not be
mhm,
seeing my posts on
yep.
Instagram.
So let's make a plan. Let's figure out like how many would you like to do, and we'll just do preceding webinar. Also, what date
Mhm.
would you like to like? It's like now we're thinking about more than a week in advance. When we
Yeah,
talk
because
about
that's
being
what I'm trying
prepared
to
and
think. Yeah.
intentional, it's like what day would you? Let's pull up a calendar. Let's like be like, all right. Hold on. I was like, um, would you like which do you like to do it? I know.
Well, that's what I mean. How long do you think, like, from now till then, like, how long do you think is a good amount of time?
I
Because
want you
I've,
to
I've
be
also
thinking
not been
about it.
marketing the last 2 weeks because it's been holidays and I'm
Yeah.
just been enjoying it.
So
So,
I like to market the webinar a week prior and then go hard the week of the webinar and tell the group, that's what my plan is. So I'm going to have like 2 weeks of regular marketing, 1 week of webinar marketing, and then 1 week of sign up for one-on-one.
okay. So then at the last week of the month then, really? If I do 2
That's
weeks of regular
my
marketing, 1 week of
that's my
market.
thought. And you could do you don't have to follow that at all. But and I think I might actually do it on the 22nd is
Mhm.
what I'm thinking about for my next webinar.
Yeah, because you also want some time to close as well. If you're wanting to sign people,
So
not that it
it's like
matters.
the 22nd to 26th. Oh, I'm going out of town on the 25th, but I am, yeah, I haven't set my date yet.
Okay, so I'm trying to think what day works best for me. I could do either like the 22nd or the 24th. I'm just trying
Let's
to
do
think
it.
in the evening.
Like
Um,
22nd and 24th. Okay, so we've decided
okay.
webinar.
We'll just say the 24th then, so then it's decided.
That's what I want to do. It's like I want you to become this year the kind of person that decide the kind of business owner that's like,
Mhm.
I see this on the 24th, we're doing this. Like, this is who I am, this is what I do. So within that, with the 24th, I want you, what time?
Normally in the evening. What did I do last time actually? I think like 8 p.m. my time. And then
Awesome.
that's still like during the day in America to a degree as well. Do you know what I mean? So that
Perfect. Okay.
more
So
people
you're
can
doing a
come.
webinar on the 24th at 8 p.m.
Yeah, there you
And
go. Okay.
how many emails would you like to precede? We did one this time.
You mean my current list?
Mhm.
I still have, by the way, I have the same thoughts about my list as my followers. I'm like, they're not real. So it doesn't really matter, but I'm just going to pretend that's not
We're
true.
gonna
And
pretend we're working on these thoughts. And that's the other thing I would tell you, Andrea, is like you don't have to have like perfect, quote unquote, like wonderful thoughts. You can still be working on thoughts
yeah.
as you are becoming this person too. So it's like when we want to think about the market, this is gonna be like IG posting.
hmm
How many posts do you want to do the week prior to the webinar?
So can I just confirm? So we're thinking 2 weeks of like normal just marketing to like wake up my Instagram again, if you know what I mean,
Yeah.
because I've been off for a while. Um, so
And I call that nurturing marketing.
yeah.
Just like
So
being
2 weeks
like
of nurturing.
giving
So
a shit
one,
ton of
two
value. How many posts do you want to do?
on the in the nurturing or when, sorry.
Yeah, like this week and the
Well, I like to say 3 per week because then at least I know I'll do it. You know what I mean? Rather than trying to do too
yes.
many and then giving up completely.
So 3 a week. Then the week before the webinar, you want to just keep it. I'm still going to keep it at 3 a week, but I'm
Yeah,
just going to
okay.
make the call to action, sign up for the webinar.
Okay. If I do 3, and then if I want to do more and I can do more, then it's okay. But at least if I say 3, then I'm not like putting
And
too
we're going to
much.
get data for it. We're going to be like,
Yeah.
this is the data that I'm collecting. It's like, this is my best guess for what I think will bring these 8 people to me right now. I think that 40
Yeah.
people are going to sign up for this. And
Yeah.
also, I want to start before this. I want you to think about the kind of person that attracts 8 people in this launch and signs 40 people and like has 40 signups and has 10 people come live and has 8 new clients from one webinar.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems far-fetched for me right now, but yeah, I need to work on that.
Well, it's like because in general, it's like that's who I kind of want to become, right? It's like
Yeah.
that's
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So it's like I wonder what that version and do you see how I you can come even though it's far-fetched, we can go from far-fetched to curious. Like, wonder what she
hmm
thinks like about her
Yeah.
webinars. So what do you think she thinks about her webinars?
Well, I think she's just thinking like about like what she's given in the webinar, how amazing it is. So like people would want to come. Do you know what I mean? That's like I'm going to give such good stuff that
Do
of
you
course people
mm-hmm,
are going to want to come. Like they would be crazy not to come to this.
mm-hmm. It would
So she
be
would be focusing on that.
how would you feel?
I would just feel like I think there's a degree of certainty because you're like, well, this
Yeah,
is really good, right? And then
that's what came up for me too. Like there's
yeah,
certain
so you're like, of course they're gonna come. Like I think I would be
I love
as
that.
that person, I would just be at the place, I'd be like, well, if I put something up
Yep.
that's offered to them, of course they're gonna
Everyone's gonna
come.
send. So it's like this is your future model
Yeah.
that you can start to live into. Do you feel
Mhm.
like you need a bridge, like almost self-concept in between?
Yeah, because I do believe that I'm like, I've not even made up what I'm doing yet, but I do believe whatever it is will be great and it will be really helpful to my people.
Yeah.
But of course, 40 people are going to come is not quite there because I'm like,
Uh,
it didn't happen last time. And I know you shouldn't use past evidence, but I'm like,
that's
I need
okay.
to
I was
just,
like, it's like whatever, like so this is your bridge self-concept. It's like, okay, it's like whatever it is, I'm gonna make it. And it's like whatever it is, it will be great because I make great content that really helps.
yeah,
So that's why it's like it's really helping you. It's like because I make valuable content that really helps. Do you see how it's like I'm pushing you a little bit more to
yeah,
that future
yeah,
self?
that's fine. Yeah.
So it's like bridge. So how does it feel when you say like whatever it is, it will be great because I make valuable content that really helps people.
Yeah, I feel confident. That makes me feel
Yes.
confident.
Great. Okay. And so it's like this is like the where you're it's like then from that place, what does that version of you, what does she do? Like the words that she says are actually different than the words that you might have, like, you know what I mean? It's like the words I want you to say are from that self-concept.
So from the person that thinks whatever I'm going to do is great
For
because
your
I
post
create, I
like
can't
this
remember what you
week.
said.
Yeah, so it's like
Pardon?
what you're doing this week, I want you to be like the posts that are coming out this week. It's like just get ready. It's like this is going to be awesome. Like everything I do is great. All this marketing is really gonna like I don't know what I'm gonna post today, but it's gonna be a game changer for people.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
then like I want you to be that person in practicing into that person for these 2 weeks. Then the week before the webinar, being really in that energy. And then that week of,
Yeah.
how many times do you want to post?
The week of the webinar or the week before the webinar or
Week
the week
of the
of the webinar. Like, is
webinar.
it normal to up it during the week of the webinar?
I did. I
Because if
well,
I'm on,
so
well, if I'm doing the webinar on the Wednesday, I would do the 3 posts like the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
okay, there you go.
But do you think should do more? Like selling the webinar? Because I might just do, because, well, that's the thing. It's like, should there be more salesy posts rather than like mixture of nurture and all that? Like,
So I would say like so it's on a Wednesday, correct?
yeah.
So what I would do is I would post Thursday, Friday, Saturday as well.
The week before.
The week after, 25th through the 27th.
Oh, yeah. But
The
like
salesy, hard salesy,
oh,
or the week of the 29th, hard salesy.
yeah, no, that's fine. I would definitely, once I've done the webinar, I think if I'm in the right place mentally, then I will be posting every day. So yeah, so just do 6 then.
Okay, awesome. Before, 6 after. What are you gonna send to your list?
Well, I think, because I don't ever email my list really. So I think I'll just
Oh my
send
God.
them. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. So why don't we just take at least one of these posts
Yeah,
and
that's what
make it an
all my
email?
nurturing posts. I think I'm just going to email them.
That's what I do. I like so so we'll do one nurturing email 2 weeks prior. How many preceding webinar do you want to do? I do 3.
Yeah, I would do 3 to try
Okay.
and get people on there and sell it.
How many do you want to do the week after? I did 3 a day.
Okay, go for 3.
I'd say at least 3.
Okay.
That's why I'm like, we want to be in this energy before I tell you to go ham. Because
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, like they're gonna every single email, they're gonna save this shit. And I've literally had
Yeah.
people tell me that they saved my
Mhm.
emails. They're like, I have a whole folder and I like have been going back to your launch emails. They were like, they were so good. Like people
Yeah.
who I are actually making more money than me have been
Yeah.
saving my emails. And I was like, that
Yeah.
is hilarious to me. I was like, I love that. And I'm so Like because I've stepped into a different energy, a different
Yeah.
self-concept. So I was
Mhm.
like, yeah, like this is like, yeah, the shit I say is really good. I'm like, you want to take notes. I was like,
Yeah, no, that's so good. It's like the thought that I don't practice that often, but when I'm thinking about it properly, I do believe it. I'm like, I have so much value. Like, see, everything that's culminated until this point, like between business, between coaching, between all of it, between my sales like experience before I was even a coach or a business owner, like I just have so much value and I just want to lean into that belief more. So
Mhm.
then it comes out in all my marketing.
Yes. Oh, this is so good. I'm like so fucking excited for you. I'm so excited for both of you guys. I'm like, this is a game changer. And then it's like, I'm gonna be the kind of person that signs 8 people a month. Like easy. It's like that's who
Yeah.
I want to be. It's like I'm
Mm.
gonna learn how to do that now. And it's like it literally like this was a thought that shifted for me in September, I think it was. And it was like, if I want to learn eventually how to make 7 figures, why the fuck wouldn't I try now? Like,
Yeah.
can't hurt. I was
Yeah.
like, literally can't hurt. I was like, it's not gonna be to the detriment of any human, but I was like, might as well become that person now. So it's like for
Yeah.
you, it's like if I want to sign 8 clients, why not become that person now?
Yeah.
It's
No, I
like
love
almost
that. I
worth
really
it me.
do.
I love
Pardon?
you. I love you. I love all of you. I'm like, this is just so fun. I can't wait to see
Thank
the
you.
marketing. I can't, you
I
gotta
know.
post it in our little feed and like
Yeah, of
we'll all be
course. Yeah,
cheering you
we'll
on.
do.
Same with you, Andrea. I was like, and we will like I will repost the if you've got a post about like sign up before the 8th or something like that, I'll repost it for you. I'm like, fuck yeah. I'm like, you guys are brilliant. And I'm like, let's go and help the humans.
Okay.
So
Thank you so much. Appreciate
of
that.
course, of course. Maria, like, you're here. And I was like, I don't know if you're planning on getting coached, but you're
Hi, hold
getting
on.
coached now, girl.
Hi. Hold on. I'm in morning mode. I
I
look
love morning mode. And also it snows behind you. I'm like,
kind of. It's not too snowy.
it looks like magical. It looks like a
It
winter
is. It
wonderland.
usually is. It's like a little less
So fun.
it hasn't snowed nearly as much as it has like well compared to last year.
Typically. I was like, well,
Um
I love it. And let's start with a win. How have you been?
um I've been good. Like the holidays were great. Chaotic but great.
Yeah.
I like what was kind of cool is like I was looking the goal that I set with you was like like sign 2 new clients before the end of the year.
Mhm.
And there was definitely like an underlying like that's probably like an underlying thought of like that's probably not gonna happen. Um and this client hasn't paid yet, but like on the 22nd, like the last day, I did a consult and she was in, which is
Oh
cool.
my God. Amazing.
So that I was like, oh, like that I reached like 50% of that goal. Kind of even when I had the thought maybe I'm not really going to do that or
Even with the thought.
and I
That's
was
the beauty
thinking
of
that I
it.
had written in my I had written something in my journal like maybe like truly like 10 minutes before
She booked.
she had like reached out to me because it's like a client, it's a previous client that I've worked with before. And I think I said something like in my brain dump, something about like something about it being hard.
Yep.
And then I got like a text back from her and I just was like following up, kind of like part of my networking stuff. And it was like, hey, can we talk? And I was like, oh, that's funny.
Isn't it funny?
That's
It's
kind of
like,
like a fun moment.
well, and I'm saying that
Remember
like
him.
that's we need to follow up and network with the humans. Sound like that is awesome for you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
another thing I meant to tell, sorry, real quick, Nadia, think about if another number that you mentioned was like, I don't have as many warm leads. Think about how many warm leads you want as also. Like, what do you want on that list? Or like how many people do you want on your email list to be? Things like that. So love this. That just like I meant to say that earlier. I was like, Maria, wow. Like ADHD squirrel.
Yeah. I don't know where it doesn't matter. I don't need to find it. Okay. I'm like, I'm kind of in like goal setting mode. That's what we're doing today, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we're going for goals.
I missed last week, but I was seeing the sheet.
The goal setting.
Okay, here's what it is. Yeah, this is what I
Yeah.
want to talk about. Okay, I had it and then I lost it and it came back.
And it's back.
Um, I I've been like I've been working on I do like a goal exercise every year. And like something that that like stood out to me or like kind of made me think about goals a little bit differently was something you said like months ago probably about, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was, I think like my tendency when it comes to goals is like pick the hardest goal and like just keep trying kind of thing. Like,
Yep.
you know, don't back down from like this idea of like don't back down from your goal. And I think there's some value to having like longer term goals or like having a goal and knowing like being open to like loosening your grip on the specific timeline. And you had said something, you're like, this year, I think you were talking about your last year. You're like, this year isn't like a financial growth year. I set like the same financial goal and I'm like building other foundations in my business. And I like don't remember specifically the details. I don't know if that sounds familiar to you.
That 100%. It was a financial growth versus internal growth year.
Internal growth. Yeah. And so I was like, as I was sitting down, I was like, I wanted to kind of sort out my thoughts around like how I want to think about the year as a whole. But I also want to make sure. So the things like on the plate are like, I'm going to try to get pregnant again in 2024 and like potentially like my husband and I are going to start trying like in this month. It's January now, like this month or like next month, you know, like at the beginning of the year. So I could also be like birthing a baby by the end of the year. And so I'm like, that's like on the list. But I also, as I've been kind of like sitting with it and writing down my goals for the coming year, I'm like, wow, like as I was like finishing up 2023, part of me kind of felt like it was like I was thinking about the years, like, well, that was just kind of like, we're just gonna throw that one, not in the garbage. Like, it's not that bad. It wasn't like, but I was like, oh, I really missed a lot of like things. Like it's probably like the worst year in my business financially in terms of like how much like revenue since I started my business. And like, and so I think like, but then as I've been sitting, I'm like, wait a minute. I've also built so many things in 2023. Like, I feel like I'm going into Jan 1. Like, I had so many challenges with like reproductive stuff, but I also was like in physical therapy for my pelvic floor, which is like a year and a half after I had my baby. I realized like I'm peeing my pants, but that was like a frustrating thing. And like,
I've done it too. That's why I was laughing. I was like, yeah, been there. Love it.
You had to do you had to.
Yeah, it was for other reasons.
Infuriating, like to like postpartum in like the two people told me they're like it's really like 2 years of postpartum and I'm like it's fine. I even like I'm totally feeling healed like after a year later after my baby was born. Meanwhile there's like all these hidden things I don't even know about. I had like I started like developing headaches, like all of that's but I didn't like wait to start rehabbing those things. Like and like the thing that was really inspiring is I like went to an Orange Theory class yesterday and I ran, like I've been avoiding the treadmill like the plague. Like I've been doing the bike and I've been doing the Strider, but I got on the treadmill and I actually ran for like, there's walking in between, but I ran for like the whole time and I didn't leak, which was like actually a big fucking deal because like a month ago I got on the Strider and leaked after I'd been doing PT for 3 months and I was like, fuck everything. Like I was so mad. I was like, so like, I just felt so pissed because I put in the work and I didn't see the result I wanted yet.
But you
I
got
actually
there.
feel like I'm going into January. I'm like, okay, I have all these systems in my business. I'm actually starting at the beginning of the year with these systems, which like last year I was started those systems in like March
Mhm.
and then was building them and then like kind of
Life.
lost momentum the second half of the year for like a good reason.
Mhm.
Or like I
100%.
needed the time to like work on my mental health and like other things. But I do feel like pumped about going into the next year. So I'm rambling. What I want to kind of like lengthen today is thinking about like how do I like keep goals that feel like really motivating. Like I don't want to
Mhm.
undersell myself because I'm thinking about having a baby. Just because the last time I had a baby, I felt like it really took me like a while to like get back in.
Yeah. I
Even though
think this
like that,
is
I don't want to make that
Mhm.
wrong either. Like I think like, do I want to
Mhm.
be the woman who's like, I had a baby and then I fucking made tons of money and like acting like it didn't affect my life? Like I think there's something I don't want to like villainize like what I did.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think there's like a middle ground. Like I think like I needed some space. And like the truth is like my mind was scattered.
Yeah. And
And
I
like I
think
needed like I'm grateful that I had the space to kind of like not have to push super hard professionally. Like I could have
Mhm.
the space. And I think that I also like it's somewhere in the middle for that piece. It's like
Mhm.
I think I wish what I would have done better is like committed to working less and really focused when I worked. Instead I like I definitely also kind of let myself get distracted and like took, twice the time to do something that could have taken me like, less time, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Well, I think
Kind
that
of like, how do I
you
want to think about like 2024 as a whole, like how do I go into it knowing that I'm probably going to go through like like a
a life
big
shift.
transition again. And
Mhm.
if it's not like a baby, it's going to be like figuring out other reproductive challenges potentially. Like I'm not sure that's going to be the case, but it's like anytime you enter into like baby making land, you're like also bringing in the potential for like things like health issues, things to
Yeah.
not work out, etc.
And
Um,
so I've
is
got
this
two
making
thoughts
sense?
for yeah, I know
Yeah.
it's all making so much sense. And so I last week was having a lot of similar thoughts. Um, because I think that what you're asking me is like, and these are my words, so feel free to like go with it. But like when we're talking about like you were like, what kind of goals to have? I actually want to shift it to your mindset around goals. I think that
Okay,
like it's
yeah.
not necessarily like what the goal is
Totally.
versus who you are with the goals.
Yes.
Like,
And it's like, yeah, I'm trying to find like I don't want to like undersell myself. Like I don't like I hesitate to make the goals like less,
uh-huh.
even though maybe that's the growth is like actually like you're not like I think I'm working on like how do I have the goal and be unattached to it?
Yes, exactly. And
Or
that's
is
like
it more
the difference.
helpful to be like, hey, like you're gonna make a ton of space for this like massive, like another massive round of like
Change.
being pregnant and feeling sick and like not forcing, like not forcing yourself to, you know, just like power through whenever you feel like garbage or when your body needs to rest or whatever.
Well, and I think what's happening is
Yeah.
your brain is like looking for certainty and
Yeah.
safety
Oh,
in
yeah.
this. I think that's what's happening. And so that's what was going on for me is like I was like I just don't know what the year is going to look like. I don't know what's going to happen like with my relationship. We might be planning something. I think that is definitely on the docket. I've never planned a wedding or anything like that before. We also I know. I'm like I was like you guys are going to know. I was like the second it happens like, I'm like guys. It has not happened. I was like but it will. And I'm like so within that it's like I'm like, oh my God, is it gonna be like this? And then we're also like trying to move to Germany in 2025 and like just like do a
Oh my
year
God.
there. I know. So it's like
Cool.
there's a lot of things. And so when you're talking about like there's a lot of transitions, I was like, I am like literally, I think I got coached by Jackie for this for like literally our reason and is to coach you on this today because it's this idea of holding a vision while also holding the transition space as well. And I think that for you, when we're thinking about this vision, it's gonna shift a lot. There's gonna be a lot of pieces. And that's what we are when you're thinking about the goal and things like that. It's about like holding that space and being open for all those things. Yes, thinking about moving to Germany. It's happening. I'm like very excited about it. So within that, like, I know we literally just wanted to go for a year before kids. That's like the thought. But then also like my uterus, there's a lot that's like unknown there too. So I'm like so with you. I'm like, because I was supposed to start trying in 4 months according to my gyno. And I'm like, well, I don't know if I want to do that. So I'm like, well,
Yeah.
we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
So that's what I was telling Andrea. I was like, come hell or high water, I'm gonna be a mom. I don't know how it's gonna happen, and I'm open to it all. So that what Jackie was saying to me last week when I was getting coached is I was like, there's just so much unknown. There's like so much unknown. How can I hold space for these big dreams? And also like I'm feeling like a little uncertain about like things when timeline, my physical body and all these things. And so what I like to think about within this year, it's like this, I think it's another reason why I'm holding the space for like, I just want to be the kind of person that makes 7 figures in my lifetime. I would love to be that. I would love to do that in my lifetime. I think that I think it'd be incredible to create that amount of a contribution in the world. I'm like, that would be incredible. So I'm setting my goal in this like when you were saying about like set the hardest goal, it's like this is just a goal that I want to have. And I know that my problem solving, or if I were to be like, I want to hit 500K this year, my, I wouldn't get the data. This is like, everything is like linking very well together today. But it's like, I wouldn't actually do the things that I think I would want to get to that 35 people, that 7 figures. I would do different actions if I was aiming for 500. I would
Mm.
do I would probably like I instead of getting 250 people on a webinar, I would be aiming for like maybe 100 people on a webinar. So maybe I wouldn't go as it's like I would maybe not write as many emails. So I'm like kind of that's my approach is like
Are you, hold on 1 second. Are you saying like your like big long-term goal is like be the kind of person who makes 7 figures
might
and
as
this
well do it in
year the goal is
2024.
500K?
No, I'm saying this 2024, I was like, I'm gonna make the goal 7 figures.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just
Wait, I thought you were
going,
saying you would, okay. You're saying
I'm
you would
go
write more emails, you would like do the things.
and I would actually get
differently.
data that I can like measure in the future that's
Yeah.
gonna be more useful for me and my business to be like, I'm gonna have the emails written, I'm gonna have the content ready, I'm gonna be able to see a sample size that's like it's like if I'm thinking about like my business like a science experiment. And I'm like, I'm guessing that this amount of emails, this is gonna lead me to 7 figures.
This is making sense. It's like holding the goal where it is, and it's like, no, like, because then you're like mentally that year, I was going for
Unattached.
150K.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know for sure that like my efforts were directed at that goal. And then the data applies to that goal, even if I don't reach the goal. Then I at least, because like you're right. Like if you're like, well, that last year I was really kind of going for like 50K. So it's like hard to, you could think about just tripling it, but it's hard to like measure. It's hard to, it's hard, it's like apples to oranges because it was just a different goal.
Exactly. And then so it's
Yeah.
not good. It like the data isn't as relevant. And when you're thinking about who you are when you're trying to hit 50K versus 150K, you're a different person. Now,
Yeah.
in the course of your business, do you want to hit 150K and have 2 kids?
Yeah.
So within that, we know that what I'm talking about, like with the vision, we want to go with things that are certain and things that we like, we know that are like happening. So it's like, I know I have a daughter right now, I have a
Yeah.
business right now,
Yeah.
and I would like to do this in my lifetime. That
Mhm.
these are 3 reasonable things that I want in general. So I'm going to learn how to become the kind of mom that does this regardless. And then we'll have, so it's like, if that is a self concept you're coming from, when I was talking about the mindset of the goal, it's like that's how you can become really unattached to it and really like when we were talking about like Andrea, like the skill of being a businesswoman, it's like I want to have, I want to learn the skill of having a business that produces 150K either of revenue or profit, whatever you decide to do. And so then it's like, okay, if I'm trying to do that in general, might as well try for that this year
Yeah.
and go with that. Now, the number of clients I have, it's like, let's say you want 5 clients, like just consistent 5 clients. Like, so then it's like, maybe that's not going to equal your 150K revenue, right? Maybe that would like not
Math wouldn't work.
the math, it wouldn't work. But if you're still becoming the kind of person, then maybe you've got a wait list of people that are eventually going to fill it in. And then you're still going to be attracting people that your 150K self would have in their
Yeah,
audience.
like you can also be like, hey, got pregnant, felt like shit for 6 weeks,
Yep.
gonna wait list, but I'm still like I'm still the person making the decisions as like the woman who's pregnant, has a kid. Like it doesn't mean you have to take on all the work. It just means
Yes.
I'm the goal is more around like staying in that mindset
Mm-hmm.
rather than, and like, yeah, okay. That's
Amount
totally tracking.
of work to make the math work. So it's like, so 150K, do you know the
That's been
number
my
of,
goal like since I started my business, and I haven't like I have aspirations to like increase that. And that's like a maybe a different question because I like
Mhm.
um like
But I don't think that you've had the 150K goal since you've started your business. I don't know if you've been as I don't know if you've been like, I'm becoming that person right now, right now. Like the until we had
yeah,
this
yeah. I've
conversation,
definitely
you
gone
know?
in and out of like I've gone in and out of being in like sitting in that like I'm making
Energy.
150K this year.
And
Like it
so
was
it's like, and it's like, I'm gonna figure out how to make 150K in a year in general. Now, how many clients would you need to make 150K work?
um just do the math.
Like, how much is your program again? Is it 5K?
It's 5K for
So
like
it's
6
30
months,
clients.
30
So
client 30 clients.
just
Oh,
for
but
the
that would
whole
be
year.
like, but it's for every 6 months. So it'd be like 15 clients at a time.
Yeah, 15 clients, clients every 6 months, 30 a year. And so instead of like, then you're like, okay, so that's currently what it would take for me. Do you want to hold space for 15 clients right now? If the answer is no, then we can get creative with it. We can be like, okay, maybe we do it bi-weekly and I like maybe they get coaching throughout the 6 months. Like we can get creative. They get 12 sessions over the 6 months. You know, it's like, and you could see people, like you could still see 30 people a year, but you would see a different 15 every other week. It would be like you would see Sarah
Oh,
at 3 o'clock on
I
Thursday
guess that's
for
still the
week
same
one.
though.
It would still be the same math, but it would be less like the 30 people for 5K would work. It would just be less time on your end. You just could get creative with it. Maybe it's like there's just like it just gives your brain space to be creative and think about that. Like, do I
Yeah.
want to be the kind of person that works coaches 15 people a week? Do I want to do something else? Like,
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. One of the things that I've been like, actually like sat on, I felt like kind of called to do it in 2023. And then it was like it was knocking at the door and then I kind of had like what I call sometimes like a download about it,
Mhm.
kind of in December. And just to like explore a little bit more of not explore, like basically create an offer for organizations
Mm.
that's specific to like help like supporting women. Um
I love
because
this.
there's like a lot of executive coaches out there,
But one that focuses just on leadership
but like
development.
creating a program for a company that's like, hey, like who are your top 5 women that you want to really support and keep at the company and grow. I help them with like unique challenges that women have. And I like all of my success stories are with women. Like this is what I do. It's like a specialty. Um,
And why instead of creating
I
a
want to
different
have more
offer?
conversations about it. Like I was chatting with my husband about it. And he's like, I think he's like, the executive coach thing is like, like executive coaches has been around for years.
Yeah.
I think it's really rare if
You're
you went
doing.
offered, like that would be your niche, is like, I help women, and like tons of companies right now are actually like making efforts, like, how do we support women more?
Mhm.
And I could be that solution.
And why are you creating a different offer? Just use the same offer. Same thing.
No, it's like the same. I just mean like packaging it. I just mean packaging it
Just
differently.
literally saying an email and being like exactly what you said, like literally everything that you said. I totally agree.
But
And
it's also
then
just like a little bit more of a direct sales funnel of like, I have
Mhm.
friends that are like HR managers that I could be like, hey, like, do you guys have this problem? Do you want to solve this
Fuck
problem?
yes.
Do you think this is like something that would, do you think this is like market viable in your work, like in your corporate world, in your professional opinion? And then I just have like a ton of friends that are like getting like former colleagues, friends that are just like more and more senior at their organizations that, um, you know, I can start having conversations like that around specifically.
Yes. That
Um,
can be your new
Pretty cool.
networking and outreach. And so like that, do you see how like it's like then maybe you charge them 10K. Who knows?
Oh,
It's
I would,
like
yeah, like if for like I mean, I can charge, like if I did, I
you
would
see what
charge
I'm
like,
saying?
yeah. And like, yeah, if I target like medium-ish size companies,
They've
I
got the
think that, like
funds.
what I would offer would be, I'd be like contracting with them. I mean, I feel like I could charge for like a year of my services, it would be like hiring a very low level employee, but I would be making like 40 or 50K.
Just
And that would
fun.
give me like clients for the year.
Mm-hmm.
And potentially do like different engagements with them, or like host workshops where they all come together, coach them individually, and like really work on with like individuals still. And like,
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
But I'm like, yes, that's the kind of like because it adds that 150K version of yourself. Then it's like instead of being like, would you like this? It's like, is this a good sample size versus like you want this. It's the best thing that you could do for your company. I feel like it would be incredible. It's like, here are the kind of results I've gotten. And then I would also like think about like, what are it's like, how would this help them with money, time, and energy? It's like, how is
Yeah.
this going to help them? But I think that like this is a
Those
level
are, yeah. And those are like,
all things coaching
you're
does.
talking to an employer, and like, I hear from like sometimes I have clients that like try to create the funds for my program via their employers. And sometimes it's like super smooth and it's like they get it approved. And sometimes it's like part of it is like making it easier. It almost, if I do the work of like selling it myself
Mhm.
to employers, it makes it easier for like more. It came from the thought of like letting go. It was almost like it's almost like a good thing. I was like kind of reflecting on like, I've made the least amount of money that I have this year,
Mhm.
and kind of like accepting that like I'm still like safe and like taken care of, and my baby's taken care of, and this isn't a survival situation.
Yeah.
And I let go of the idea of like, if this isn't about money, the thing that like popped up instead was like, how can you like, because the thing that I'm like missing is like, I want to help more people. And I want like, if I'm in that 150K mode, or like, you know, like I would love to make 7 figures in my business as well. Like longer term, it's like,
Mhm.
I want more case studies, and I want to like, I miss having more clients in my sphere and like connecting in that level with people. And so then from that, like sitting in that thought of like, how can I help more people? I don't know what the emotion was. I guess it was just like, but anyway, that's like where I was like, well, how could I like get access to more people in addition to like my private practice?
Exactly. Oh,
So that was
this
kind
is
of
like
cool. Like it was like when I'm directing my mind towards how can I help someone today? Like that's where I get like rich ideas, and I'm coming from a place that like feels really good to me, and isn't like, because I think have spent the past many years attaching like, if I can make money in my business, then I will be like, I can be
successful.
like, yeah, I have a
Or
sick business, blah blah blah.
it's the best. But it's
And
like
like,
that's like this, how can I help someone today? Is like if you can stay in that energy, that is your 7-figure you too.
yeah.
That you're
And
becoming.
yeah, like the tactics will like change over time and stuff. And that like it just like feels really good.
Yeah, it's my
Like
favorite
that's why
feeling.
I'm doing this anyway.
That's literally why we're doing this. And it's like
And it doesn't mean
even
you're like giving it away for free, but and then it becomes more about like, why is it good for someone to like throw down their own money in a like, you know, um in that kind of situation. And then
so
there's like
cool.
this, I think you can like think about it both ways. It's like people who find me on their own, that's really powerful for them
And
to spend their own money actually.
mhm.
And it's like can be just as powerful to like go create like a partnership with an organization and support women who like, you know, there's another world where it's like, yeah, actually, like if you want to support women in your organization, like like put the
I'm your
money behind
person.
your mouth.
Yes.
And I do like my mission is like, I want more women in decision making roles.
Roles. Like that's who I'm becoming. And
Yeah. And
so
like, if I need to go to the companies to like do that, that's like, it kind of, I'm like excited about it. It seems like fun. Like it gives me like a reason to reach out to people in like a different capacity, and like reach out to like old
yes.
bosses, and like like uh, connect in that way. That's sometimes I don't know. I'm excited about it.
I'm excited for you. And I'm just so proud of you guys. And I realized we didn't take a picture at the beginning. I was like, shit. I was like, we need to take a crew pic. But I'm like, you're fucking on it, guys. This is like, I'm so, so proud of you. I really do feel like 2024 is going to be our year. Like, as coaches, like, I think it's going to be fucking awesome. So I love you. I love you all so much. Here, I'm going to take a quick pic. I'm like, are you guys ready? What? It's coming. 1, 2, 3. Oh, and Frankie's in it too.
Kitty.
I was like, I love it. Okay, well, I love you guys so, so much. You are incredible. Please keep serving the humans. I cannot wait to hear about the launch. Andrea, all of you guys are like doing incredible things. And I will see you all next week. It's going to be good. All right. Bye, everybody. Guys, and the recording.